Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about something more serious, and that is how I manage my anxiety as a mom. Before I get started, I do want to issue a disclaimer, and that is that I am not a medical professional. I am not giving you medical advice, and if you are struggling with anxiety or depression, I strongly encourage you to talk to somebody, whether that be a spouse, a friend, someone in your life you're close with, a doctor, your OBGYN, a therapist, somebody that can provide you support. I also want to say that the tips that I'm giving in this video are what work for me personally, and what works for me may not work for you. So that's just something to keep in mind. But with that being said, I really hope that you do find these tips helpful if anxiety is something you're struggling with. I do recognize that there are different levels of anxiety, and personally, I actually did have anxiety very bad after having Grayson. He was about 4 months old, and that's when it hit me. And I did end up needing to seek extra support through my husband, a therapist, and my doctor, who did prescribe me Lexapro. And I took that for about 6 months, and that really did help me manage my anxiety at the time, along with talking to a therapist. When I say that my anxiety was serious, I was having panic attacks multiple times a month. I was having serious intrusive thoughts, and I didn't want to be alone in my own head. And I was so anxious, and it was just way too much for me to handle on my own. Please know that seeking support from a doctor, therapist, or somebody else is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a testament to just how strong you are. With that being said, let's get started. The first way I am able to manage my anxiety is by working out. Now, I know working out is not for everybody, and that's totally okay, but for me, I have found that the days I work out, I am way less anxious, I'm more energized, I'm more productive, and I just feel my best. The days I don't work out, I can feel it mentally. Fitness is important for your physical health, but in my case, I almost feel like it's more important for my mental health. Especially when intrusive thoughts do start to creep back in, I find that a workout is the perfect way to distract myself and also put me into a better, more positive mindset afterwards. The second way I manage my anxiety is through self-care. As a mom, finding time for self-care is a serious task. Sometimes self-care looks like painting your nails while your baby's napping. Sometimes it looks like hiding in your pantry, eating a piece of chocolate just to have some peace and quiet. When we don't take any time for ourselves throughout the day or throughout the week, we start to feel like we're running on empty. I can always tell if I'm neglecting this area of my life because I start to get overwhelmed and anxious by the smallest things. In my case, I've learned that the smaller bouts of anxiety that I don't manage turn into bigger bouts of anxiety that are a lot more difficult to handle. Self-care doesn't have to look like taking several hours to yourself a day. If your baby's napping for an hour, maybe during that hour, you take the time to do something that makes you happy and fills your cup back up. For example, a couple days ago, Grayson was napping. He only naps for an hour at a time now because he takes 2 one-hour naps a day. So what I did was I sat down at the kitchen table with my nail polish and my Kindle, and I painted my nails, and while they dried, I read. And it was honestly so amazing. It was so simple, but it was honestly the best form of self-care I feel like I've had in a very long time. Yes, it is good to be productive when your kids are napping and use that as an opportunity to get things done. But in my opinion, self-care is productive when it is helping your mental health. Just remember not to forget about yourself. You matter. The third way I found helps me manage my anxiety is by communicating when I need support to those around me. When I'm having a day where I feel extra anxious, I will let my husband Kevin know, because he will be able to take care of Grayson and just give me a little bit of a breather. Most importantly, he validates my feelings and he gives me the support I need while I'm struggling. On days where you feel extra anxious and you're on edge, let your loved ones know. It will help them to know that you need that extra help and support, and it will help you to receive that support. Even if it means leaving the room for a couple minutes while your kid is on FaceTime with your mom, sister, somebody in your family, as long as they are of an age where they're safe to be left alone and there's nothing dangerous going on, obviously. I've learned over time that if I'm not open and honest with Kevin about when I'm struggling with my anxiety, it makes it harder for both of us. I feel like he isn't seeing my struggles, and he feels like I'm not opening up to him, and he doesn't necessarily even know what I'm going through. The fourth way I have found helps me manage my anxiety is by keeping our space clutter-free. I have mentioned this in previous videos, but if I am surrounded by clutter, my mind is automatically so much more overwhelmed. I'm anxious, I'm on edge, and I feel like I can't be productive. I've also found that another big trigger for my anxiety is being surrounded by too much stuff. When Grayson was a few months old, Kevin and I were at a point where we were still trying to figure out a good flow in our home. And so we were literally just like leaving out his Love Every Play gym, his Jolly Jumper, his Skip Hop Activity Center, all of it. We would leave it all out because we thought it was easiest. He could go from one activity to the next and we wouldn't have to deal with like putting it away and getting it out and that headache. After a few weeks of living like this though, we realized it was actually not a good idea to just have everything out because we were stepping over it, moving it out of the way, and we just felt like we were surrounded by clutter constantly. It was at this point that Kevin brought up the idea that we just put his toys away, and that's what we started doing. I do want to say though that I don't want anybody watching this who has toys all over their living room to feel like I am calling them out or shaming them. Everyone has something different that works for them. And this is just what I have personally found works for me in my home and helps with my mental health. Everybody's different. So if you are, surrounded by toys, there is no shame in that. You do you. We did find that while it was convenient to have all of Grayson's big toys out all the time, it was a lot better once we had decided to put them away when he was done using them. Another thing we do to help manage the toys and keep everything more organized is to utilize the storage that is available in our couch. We have a little bin in there that has all of Grayson's toys in it, and it's really nice because when he's out here we can just take that out and have him play with them, and we can always do toy rotations where we switch the toys around that are in there. It's a really good way for us to keep his mess contained and then just put it away as soon as he goes down for a nap. And we also have a little playpen that we will set up in the living room anytime we do happen to bring toys from the bedroom, so that way when he's in that playpen, everything stays in that playpen and cleanup is so much easier for everyone. The fifth way I help manage my anxiety is by waking up early. Waking up early is not for everybody. I know. We wake up at 4 a.m. in our home, and while some people may hear that and flip, it's actually what works best for us. Kevin does work a job that is on East Coast time, but we live in California, so his hours are 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. It works out really well for us to just get our day started super early, and then we end our day by like 2 o'clock. We live in California on Pacific Standard Time, but we actually really live on East Coast time. It does mean that we usually go to bed at like 8:30 at night. A few years ago, I would have laughed if you told me that I was gonna wake up at 4 a.m. in the future. I would have been like, there's literally no way. But now I love waking up early, and here's why. Grayson wakes up at 6 in the morning. So if I wake up at 4 in the morning, that gives me 2 hours of time to myself. 2 hours to do whatever I want or whatever I need to get done. I mentioned that nap time is a great time to fit in self-care, but the best time for me to fit in self-care is before Grayson even wakes up. Waking up at 4 a.m. gives me time to work out, time to read my book, time to work on my videos if I have anything to work on for that. It gives me time to drink my coffee in peace and quiet without my toddler trying to smack it out of my hand. Most importantly, it gives me time to prepare for the day ahead. This is seriously critical for my mental health. I have found that these 2 hours are golden for me and such a good way for me to make sure that I am staying on top of my anxiety. Even if the day is a total bust, at least I had that time for myself in the beginning. Anxiety can really make you feel like you're not in control of your day or your life, but I found that having that 2 hours to myself really helps me regain that control. The sixth and final way that I have found helps me manage my anxiety is having a daily routine. This is the last tip on my list, but honestly, it's one of the more important tips because it gives me life. Having routines is such a good way for me to feel my best. If my day is planned out in advance, I am a way happier, way more relaxed person. Having a daily routine is a really good way for me to stay on top of my anxiety, because if I do not have a daily routine, I am more overwhelmed. And if I'm more overwhelmed, chances are I'm also anxious. The two go hand in hand, and not in a good way. I'm just the type of person that thrives when they have a routine, and so it's to my benefit to lean into that. I actually do have the Notion app for keeping myself on track, and in the Notion app, I have my own little habit tracker section, and I can go through and check off each item each day. So in the morning, I'll do like, brush my teeth, work out, read for 20 minutes, work on my video, make the bed. And those are the habits I like to stick to every single day. And so I have found that having that is also a good way for me to stay on top of my daily routines. That is all I have for you guys today. I really hope you found these tips helpful. I do plan on filming a video in the near future about my morning routine, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I will see you in the next video.